All right. We got hot 3 people in here. Hey, what's up, everybody? Who is here? Let's talk in the chat.
I think it's me, you, and Paige.
I don't have it up. I will have it up in just a moment. We're getting started in just a moment. Just hang on for one solid moment. All right, I'm going to pull it up. Oh, what's up, Josh? Dude, our good buddy Josh is in the chat.
Scout Trooper boy?
Yeah, Scout Trooper Josh. Hey, man. All right. So I've got it up. Good one, Connor. You're so inappropriate. All right.
Here, do you want my notes?
Yeah. We'll go ahead. We'll get into it. That is exactly what we were doing, Josh. I just watched it for the second time. I watched it last night as soon as it went live because I couldn't wait.
Couldn't wait for your brothers.
No, but I'm the only person with Disney Plus anyway.
So we had to wait.
Yeah. You guys didn't have a choice. But watching it twice already, we're just going to say it. So good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
So let's go ahead. Let's just get started. We're just going to jump into it. Of course, people can check out the VOD afterwards.
Right.
So, boys, general thoughts on The Mandalorian? Season 1, Episode 1?
Did exactly what I wanted it to in the sense that it stands on its own. Because I think I'm not going to say it's similar to Rogue One, but it's kind of the similar idea to Rogue One where it takes place in that era. And the problem with Rogue One was that it relied too heavily on like callbacks and nostalgia. And we said earlier, like this one has some callbacks, like the little Salacious Crumb getting barbecued.
No, not
but it doesn't beat you over the head with nostalgia. And like remember Dr. Cornelius Ezavon and Punda Babu and like all the, there's no unnecessary shot of 3PO and R2D2.
True.
They look into the camera and say, "Hey."
Josh is he asked, "Is it cold in here? What's with the blanket?" Josh, we were just comfy and cozy together. So we're all
safe, cozy, and cute.
We're just all hanging out underneath the same blanket. Just some normal cute boy stuff. Yeah. So yeah, it's just so good to finally get like you were saying, a piece of Star Wars content that felt like it takes place in the universe of Star Wars, but it doesn't beat you over the head with the fact that it is in the Star Wars universe.
Like you said earlier, it realistically takes place in the Star Wars universe.
Right.
But it also pretty immediately, without having a title crawl, like it pulls you in. Like there's this vibe that you get right away that's just it was very satisfying. It made me feel ways about Star Wars that I haven't felt since like the hype of 2015.
Yeah.
You know?
Definitely. And Josh, that ending, who knows where it's going to go. We'll talk about that in a little bit though, but yeah. I mean, I marked this as spoilers. If anyone's in here and you haven't watched the first episode of Mandalorian, click away because we're talking spoilers. Piggybacking off of what you were saying, it's like I said to you guys, I texted you and I said that this is probably the best thing to come out of Disney Star Wars, and I honestly still feel that way. I like Force Awakens is a great movie. We can all agree.
I think it's too early to say,
but
the single best thing.
I mean, maybe it's just because we've been in such a lull of Star Wars.
We've had a rough patch.
Since
The Force Awakens.
Right. So it's kind of like
Rogue One, Last Jedi, Solo.
Yeah. So it's nice to actually get something back to like sort of back to basics, but in a good way.
Well, to be fair, I think this has this great advantage too of taking place in a time like within the franchise that I think as fans, we've all always been very, very hungry for more of, right? You know, not the immediate aftermath of Return of Jedi, but you know, obviously closer to it than than the sequel trilogy has taken place. And I think, it just pulls you into like that world, like you were saying, but in an unfamiliar, like it's the perfect mix of familiar and unfamiliar.
Yeah, and At first, the first time I watched it, I was a little upset that they weren't showing the planet names. But now I kind of think it's genius. Because we don't have to be like, oh, they're on Tatooine. Oh, they're on this familiar Star Wars planet, that familiar Star Wars planet. Like, it's very obvious that it's in the universe of Star Wars, but it doesn't rely on like, hey, we're on Tatooine. You know who's on Tatooine? Which I like that. Yeah. I liked that a lot. And right at the beginning of the episode, it just pulls you in with the you don't need anything. You know who you don't know who the Mandalorian is, but you know what he's about. He's a bounty hunter, and that's right what they jump into. They don't waste any time sort of like easing you into a scenario. It's just boom, let's get started.
Great fucking introduction to that character.
Yeah.
Pulls you back to those old cowboy movies, but like it's
absolutely
Star Wars.
It's definitely very space westerny.
Yes.
And I feel like I'm just repeating myself, but I just loved that.
I think it helped that Dave Filoni was behind the wheel of the first episode.
That is very true. Dave Filoni is, oh, hey, Lucy's in here. Hey, Lucy. She said cozy and safe. And Josh said, it seems like the Mandalorian will be able to do a lot of damage control with the fan base. Definitely. Even though I feel like, speaking for myself, I liked The Last Jedi at first, and then the more I thought about it and watched it again and again, I ended up not liking that movie at all. Solo, I think, is a fine movie. It's not bad, but it's not like great either. It's just kind of
unnecessary.
Yeah.
Not how you want to feel about Star Wars.
Right. So I understand what you're saying, Josh, but I feel like at least in this regard, like I'm definitely not as angry as a lot of Star Wars fans are. I know pretty much none of us are. Mm-hmm. Like The Last Jedi wasn't good, but it's just a movie, so we can just move on from that. And we don't have to spend the next 3 years discussing.
Moving on?
No. But yeah, I think from like people that I do like follow on Instagram or whatever that are still very angry about The Last Jedi, it seems like everyone's loving The Mandalorian. So you're absolutely right, Josh. It's definitely like a very damage control-y, but not in a like overt way.
Just to maintain perspective, though, we've seen one episode and it was the setup.
Right.
And it's a lot easier to set up a great premise than to like follow through and, carry that to the finish line. So we'll see.
You're absolutely right. It's definitely way too early to tell. Although I think it is nice that it's only going to be 8 episodes. So it's not going to, at least whatever they have planned for this little bit of story is not going to be dragged out for 20, 30 episodes. So chances are, at least it'll probably be its own contained story, and we're not going to have to worry about like, oh God, filler episode time, like stuff like that. I feel like just based off of the pacing of the very first episode, this show is going to be like lightning fast.
And this movie,
VCR repair.
This show has like, it's kind of the best of both worlds because it has a very, like movie quality everything.
Right.
But the way that the storytelling works in a way that like you can't really do with a movie,
it definitely plants those seeds. Like you get the flashbacks when the Mandalorian's getting the new pauldron. They're just showing you little clips of we're all assuming it's the invasion of Mandalore. And it's planting seeds that that are obviously we're going to get it's going to elaborate on later in the series. And I feel a sneeze coming.
This is the worst time for you to sneeze.
It's gone.
You fought it.
It's gone.
I didn't want to come back to haunt you.
No, I know. Okay, so let's just start with the episode. Let's jump into it. One thing that really stuck out to me was the effects, the practical effects. There's a ton of practical effects even in the first episode. I think the creatures are practical effects at times. The small character that helped out the Mandalorian and the thing that they ride on, both really nice practical effects. Obviously, there's CG in there as well, but the CG looks really good too.
Yeah, well, isn't this the most expensive TV show ever made? I'm pretty sure it beat out the budget of Game of Thrones, which was the king.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm fairly certain I saw that somewhere, that this has a higher budget of Game of Thrones, so it makes it the most high budget TV show ever made. I could be wrong, but I'm fairly certain
I might have made it up.
That.
I don't know.
I mean, you can see it, and even like IG-11 looks like he's practical for a large portion of the ending fight scene, which is just incredible. The way he's like actually moving, and you were saying it looks like stop motion-y, but I think that's just because it's a real moving robot that they actually built for the show.
I don't know about that.
Taika Waititi lost a lot of weight to fit into the suit.
No, I think it's 100% real, especially when you go and look back on Jon Favreau's Instagram account, and he has the picture of IG-11. They clearly had a real
when he's moving and shooting.
Well, like when he's like twisting around and like moving quickly. But I think like there's like certain scenes where he's like walking slowly. It definitely looked. I mean, if it's CGI and it looks that good, awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was really surprised at how the practical effects and how good the CG was, because you always go in with those expectations like, yeah, it's a TV show, even like Game of Thrones, like super high budget TV show. But sometimes throughout the course of that show, even in later seasons, the CG was just kind of like,
Yeah.
So I feel like in that regard, like I'm so happy that we got practical effects back in Star Wars, like a lot of them. Josh says IG kept trying to self-explode when things got hard, and the Mando kept saying no, crying emoji. Great moment, great character moment.
Yes.
Taika Waititi, I hope that this isn't the end of IG-11.
Crying moment, but like it was pretty fucking funny too, right?
Yeah. Like my thing is I've already seen a ton of people complaining that they think IG-11 is that's it. He's just in the first episode and he's dead. I personally don't believe that. You see like some of the marketing materials. I don't know why they would go to such great lengths to include IG-11 with Cara Dune and the Mandalorian if they're just going to kill him in the first episode.
Yeah.
But even if they do kill him in the first episode, he's got more screen time than Boba Fett. So, and everyone loves Boba Fett.
Also, just that imagery of that, like when they go through the door together,
Yeah.
so they're like, like we had to open it, and they blast it down. That's fucking iconic.
That's
Just that shot. The door comes down. They're side by side.
instantly awesome.
Yes.
So I feel like either way,
as a droid, you could have another IG-11.
right? And like we were saying after we finished watching the episode, like the Mandalorian's probably going to take his robot corpse, maybe repair him, maybe take him to someone that can repair him, or maybe just transfer, like whatever consciousness from the IG-11 into another IG assassin droid body.
Right.
So I don't know. I feel like it's too early to tell, and it's annoying that people are already jumping to conclusions like, oh, he's already out of the show.
Dude, just the tension built in those
When I the first time I watched the episode, I straight up thought IG-11 shot that baby in the face.
Yes.
And I was like, are you serious? And then of course when it cuts right and it shows IG on the ground, I was like, okay.
But I mean, this is again like when Star Wars at its best. I mean, you immediately fell in love with these characters and were like rooting for like rooting for this guy, and he's like the hard ass and stuff. But then that's so flipped at the end when there's a baby,
right?
A little baby Yoda thing.
And yeah, so I mean, we could talk about Baby Yoda. What do you guys think about that? What a wrench in the gears.
Yeah,
like something I would have 100% never expected.
Oh, you didn't see that coming?
Shut up.
because like Yoda's species is unknown.
Right.
It's always been a mystery.
And we obviously, except for in, I believe, KOTOR And I haven't played SWTOR, but maybe they're in SWTOR, but there is another one of Yoda's Race in KOTOR. So it's very rare that you see another one that's not Yoda.
But it's like young.
Right. But it's 50. Like when he's getting the bounty and they're like, and Werner Herzog is like, oh yeah, he's 50 years old. Like, oh, you're thinking like, oh yeah, I wonder who it's going to be. Is it going to be like Carl Weathers or something? Like,
yeah.
Like that's
we didn't even talk about Carl Weathers.
Yeah. Carl Weathers just kind of shows up. And I like that the Mandalorian gets paid in Mon Calamari money, but it's like slimy and gross.
Yeah.
Like when he grabs it, it's like, I was like, ugh. It's so nasty. But yeah, the effects were wonderful. The CG, the little baby Yoda is cute as a freaking button.
Yeah.
Those big black eyes. I was just like, but yeah, I think even though the Mandalorian doesn't say much, and obviously he's wearing a helmet the whole time, a surprising amount of personality comes through.
I was really worried about this because I really like Pedro Pascal. I mean, who doesn't?
Right. You got to be insane to not like Pedro Pascal.
But like, I was like, okay, he doesn't take his helmet off. Like, how much are we gonna get out of this? Could it just be him doing voiceover?
Right.
And
I think it really worked. Even there's so many scenes where it's like it's close up on his face, and you know exactly what he's thinking.
Yeah.
And it's just the helmet,
but it's like. Yeah, just through like the camera, like just through cinematography.
Yeah,
they emoted.
Like the one scene that sticks out in my mind right now is at the very beginning when the blue alien guy is like, "Okay, I'm gonna go to the bathroom," and the camera just is like focusing on the Mandalorian's face, and you can instantly like tell through that moment, like he's like, "Yeah, I know this guy's about to try and pull something on me."
Yeah,
and it's so good, and just the couple lines of dialogue, which I honestly was surprised he was speaking so much.
Yeah.
The way that they marketed the show and it was like advertised, it definitely seemed like, okay, maybe we're going to get like a sentence an episode, which in hindsight would probably be pretty fucking boring.
Yeah.
And I'm glad he has
like Master Chief.
Yeah. I'm glad he does speak because the character is already wrapped in so much mystery. Like I'm involved. I want to know what's going on with the intrigue of the show. So, yeah, Josh reminded you of Cade from Destiny. Definitely early Destiny before things happened with that video game, but I can definitely see that. I just like at the beginning when he's like, I can bring you in warm or I can bring you in cold.
Hard line.
Dude, yeah. I was like, ooh, like that's so awesome. Like I'm so happy with Star Wars right now. It's so funny how like we talk about this all the time, Justin, like the ebb and flow of Star Wars, where it will just take like the smallest thing to bring us out of Star Wars depression. And this has brought me way out of Star Wars depression.
Right.
Like I want to watch Clone Wars.
I think like collecting the figures helps too.
Definitely. Like
the anticipation of trying to find the Mandalorian Black Series figure and all that.
Right. And like being able to
added to the mystery.
Being able to inspect the figure close up before we could see the show and just be able to look at it and be like, oh man, like why has he got Shore Trooper armor on? Even though that's like, I don't think they're going to explain any of that,
right.
But it was cool to see all the little details of the costume on a fairly accurate figure before the show. Kind of really helped me to like, be like, oh, like I'm pretty familiar with at least the design.
Right.
So yeah, I'm thrilled right now, honestly. The soundtrack too, really awesome. Doesn't rely on any previously existing Star Wars music. And it's different than any other Star Wars movies music has been, or
I think that's why like I compare this to Rogue One so much. It feels like a better version of Rogue One. Like it's going for that dark and gritty, something that stands on its own, but then it has an over-reliance of callbacks. But then also it's like a shittier version of original Star Wars music. Like they change it by like one note. It's like like
yeah, true.
So it's refreshing to not hear, like, again, when I say, like, it stands on its own.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't need to have those musical callbacks.
Right. And the change in music, it's not like orchestral. It's like dark synth, very
there's like
Blade
some
Runner-y
in there as well.
But still feels like inherently Star Warsy.
Yeah. It's like the Star Wars that has kind of always been maybe in the back of like everyone's brain. Like, oh man, I would love like a darker, grittier Star Wars. And the music helps sell that. And then of course, like the cinematography as well. The show is pretty dark in terms of like, it's actually like dark, but it's not bad like Solo, where like Solo, the movie was too fucking dark and you just couldn't see anything.
Right.
The darkness of The Mandalorian like fits the tone of the show, where like, you know, Solo's like, it's like kind of a happy-go-lucky movie in a lot of ways, but it's just pitch black the whole time. So I feel like it worked. It works for The Mandalorian that it's a little bit dark, but we also get plenty of daylight scenes where it's bright, sunny, out in the open. You get to see everything clear as day. So yeah, it's freaking awesome. Let's talk about the one battle sequence.
Oh.
Electrifying.
Yeah, finally getting to see an IG droid in action.
Yes. It's honestly everything I could have wanted from when we got that little snippet. Excuse me. When we got that little snippet in the trailer of just IG like turning around and like blasting everyone, like finally seeing the full context of that scene was so rewarding.
Yeah.
There were so many moments in this that I was just sitting there like smiling like a fucking kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That whole battle sequence, I was in.
Right. I love at the beginning when you just hear the footsteps and then the Mandalorian's like, ugh.
Yes.
He's like, droids. And he kind of ruins the Mandalorian's plan, but then they quickly team up. And I love that they're just like, I'm with the guild.
There's the whole like, what's the line about like the glory points associated with the mission?
Are you talking about like IG-88 telling him to stand down? Yeah, and then
IG-11.
Yeah, IG-11. Oh no! But
Gotcha, bad.
You got me. IG-88 dies in Return of the Jedi. You see his corpse. But anyways, and like the Mandalorian's like, well, you don't have him captured either. So the way I see it, we're about even. And then I just like that IG-11 just like, yeah, fair enough. Like, he's obviously a robot, but I like that they gave him a decent amount of personality as well. And then, of course, Taika Waititi voicing him is just a nice little cherry on top.
And yet it wasn't just like Star Wars Korg.
Right.
You know, which it easily could have been.
Yeah, so super awesome. Great episode. Very excited about The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
I mean, I was never worried about the quality of this show because it's in good hands. Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, people who genuinely seem to give a shit about Star Wars and understand Star Wars.
Yeah.
And I think it's safe to say that we're in for a good time.
We're in for a treat.
Yeah. I already at this point, I hope we get season 2. I hope the rest of season 1 is just as good as the first episode. I've got a strong feeling it will be.
I'm waiting on that Clone Wars flashback sequence with the invasion of Mandalore.
Like, what?
We got a little bit of it, but there was no super battle droids like they were in the trailer.
True. And Josh, episode 2 comes out on Friday. So I think it's 2 episodes a week, if I remember correctly, the schedule that I saw, because the whole season's going to be done before the end of the year. So we're going to have all of the Mandalorians super quick. But, man, Friday can't come soon enough. So do you guys have any final thoughts here? I think this is probably just a good place to wrap up the little discussion we had here.
I mean, I think my favorite thing that I like about it, we actually did not mention poor little salacious species.
Oh no.
The species of salacious crumb getting skewered and roasted, and then the other one that is alive is just watching and like,
Dude,
he's not laughing anymore.
simultaneously like the funniest thing ever and also the most heartbreaking thing ever, because I love my boy Salacious, even though it's obviously not Salacious. He got blowed up on Jabba's barge.
Right.
But like so cruel that they're just like roasting one of his kind, and then the other one just has to watch, like knowing he's next.
Fucked up.
But also a really nice puppet. I loved that all the puppets, all the droids, the gonk droid.
Yeah.
But it was kind of like a different gonk droid. Like it had like a circular top instead of squared.
So I think my biggest relief is that I've already said this, but it doesn't have Rogue One syndrome, where it's like, of course we have to have this random shot of 3PO and R2. Like, we got to bring back Punda Babu and Dr. Cornelius. And, like, it doesn't over-rely on nostalgia. And, like, I remember that. Clap. So
absolutely.
It stands on its own, but it still realistically takes place in the Star Wars universe.
True. Very
And
true.
I like the mood. I like how it looks. I'm intrigued. What is the little baby Yoda thing?
I liked that.
What's going on with that?
I liked that we also got to see like the Mandalorian's clan. We got to see some other.
Because I don't think that was like. I just thought it was going to be this one Mandalorian guy.
Yeah, and then there was actually like other members of whatever Mandalorian clan he belongs to, and the awesome armorer. I want to figure that already. The horns on the helmet, the like fur jacket that she was wearing.
I hope we get more Mandalorian clan stuff as well.
True.
I really hope they explore that more.
There was even kids there.
Yeah.
So I was like,
Sabine?
Well, Rebels is before episode 4, right?
Yeah. And she'd still be alive at that time.
Dude, what if we get a live action Sabine?
Dude, who's it going to be?
I don't know. I don't even know who would play her. Connor, you got any final thoughts?
Nah, man. I just I was worried you set my expectations too high, and you didn't.
Yeah.
And I'm just hyped.
Like, trust me, when I was laying in bed trying to go to sleep last night, and I'm just scrolling through Twitter, and then I see, Disney Plus is live. My eyes were instantly like, it was like the Squidward meme where his eyes just instantly open and bulge, and I was like, must watch Mandalorian.
I would like to ask you guys one question.
Sure.
Which is the way we've all reacted to this. You know, production, they're different things, but does this get you more excited about Rise of Skywalker? Less, or is there no impact whatsoever?
I would say zero impact.
Interesting.
I'm of course excited for Rise of Skywalker. I think the trailers so far have looked really good, but I don't think it's swayed me one way or another. If Rise of Skywalker is bad, hey, we got Mandalorian.
That is true. I think in a way, because it further impacts my opinion of like, okay, we're putting Star Wars back in the hands of people who care, and JJ obviously cares. I mean, The Force Awakens was a fantastic film, so I'm like super excited that he was brought back for episode 9. And now Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, who's involved in the Clone Wars, and Dave Filoni, the creator of Clone Wars. So I think that's like a theme that I'm just like marinating in my head right now. Like, Star Wars is back in the hands of people who I want it to be.
People who love Star Wars, and like I said earlier, who understand Star Wars.
We're looking at you, Ryan.
Because you can love Star Wars all you want, but you can also lack the understanding of the universe, which is, I think, Rian Johnson's fundamental flaw. I'm sure he's a big fan, but
which, like, The Last Jedi's biggest flaw is that there's a lot of logic issues with just the rules of Star Wars.
Very true.
So in that way, I say maybe I'm a little more excited for The Rise of Skywalker, just because I'm in that mindset of like, it's back in the hands of people I trust.
I gotta say, point blank, it, again, like I said, it got me it made me feel a way about Star Wars I haven't felt since that. We all remember the craze of 2015, and like I felt that full force. I'm not there, but it gave me that like little taste of that.
Yeah.
And it is kind of building.
I
can feel the snowball going down the hill.
I don't think that feeling will ever be recreated for us in our lifetime. Because, and I always say this on the channel, but it had, at the time, it had almost been 11 years of people like us just accepting that it's done forever. Episodes 4, 5, and 6, 1, 2, and 3, 1 to 6, like it's done forever. It's never coming back. And just like for almost 11 years, we were in that mindset. And then to have it return, and obviously we all loved The Force Awakens. So it also delivered in every aspect.
Very true.
So I don't think we're ever going to be on that level of hype ever again in our lives. But this is definitely a step in the right direction towards that. Yeah. That feeling.
You definitely feel that heat rise in your stomach, and that just goes up to your chest, and it's
and you're kind of like, oh fuck.
And you wanna say like Star Wars is back, but it hasn't gone anywhere. Yeah. But it's almost like that phrase kind of applies. But like you said,
we've kind of been in a drought.
Yeah.
Because we haven't enjoyed a Star Wars film on the same level as The Force Awakens since The Force Awakens.
Definitely.
Like they're, Rogue One, Last Jedi, Solo. So this has been like the first thing that we've really enjoyed since The Force Awakens. And that's almost 4 years.
True.
Ago.
It's been a while. But hey, Star Wars is back, mother frickers.
Oh my God.
All right, so we're going to end it here. That was our discussion about...
where are our super chats?
Season 1, Episode 1.
I have spoken.
Yeah, there's 9 people.
Yeah. What's up, everybody? Hopefully you enjoyed the discussion. I don't think we'll be doing a live stream on Friday. Probably not. I know at least I have to work my real job, so I won't be able to. But
you mean this isn't your real job?
I wish, but no, it's not. But we'll definitely talk more about The Mandalorian. We'll definitely, maybe, if we can't do a live stream, I guarantee we'll at least do a video that will be edited and released like a normal piece of content for the second episode. So if you're new here, if you're not one of our subscribers already, don't forget to subscribe so that you can stay here and
you're just gonna stay forever.
So you can stay here and get cozy.
Get comfy and cozy underneath this is an X-Men blanket, actually, and it was turned around.
Yeah, no copyright.
Yeah, we didn't want to get copywritten, so stay safe and cozy out there. Subscribe if you are new. Of course, I'm Nate. I've been joined with Justin and Connor, and
see you guys.
We'll see you guys next time. Have a good night.
Bro, end the stream.
Oh my God.
Bro, end the stream.
Oh, it's going to ask me twice.
Okay.